My name is Khaligian. I'm here representing the Armenian National Committee of the Eastern United States. I'm also a historian. And as in both roles, I'm particularly alarmed by that portion of the protocols that calls for an impartial scientific examination of historical records and archives. By accepting this particular item, it's clearly implying that the decades of research that have been done by Armenian and non-Armenian scholars was somehow not impartial and not scientific. This undermines those decades of scholarship. And in fact, we heard earlier mention Professor Roger Smith, the prominent genocide scholar. He's written you an open letter where he described this very item as offensive. Offensive to all genocide scholars, and in particular, offensive to those non-Armenian genocide scholars who spent their life documenting the historical reality of the Armenian genocide in the face of the Turkish government. You are offending them, the non-Armenians who supported us all these years. The existence of this historical commission, however it is composed, however the Armenian representatives might fight for, the mere existence or announcement that there will be a historical commission will be exploited by the Turkish government. It will be exploited to undermine and discredit the scholarship of Zadrian and Hovhannisyan and Israel Charny and Roger Smith and every other historian and genocide scholar who has written about the Armenian genocide. It will undermine the international campaign for international recognition of the Armenian genocide. It will undermine the historical consensus among all genocide scholars who agree 100% that genocide took place in 1915. This will be undermined by the mere existence and by the action of the Turkish government who will exploit the fact that there is a historical commission to examine this. And finally, and perhaps most ironically, as we spoke earlier of the need to educate the population in Turkey, in fact, having the historical commission will undermine the process of educating the Turkish population that has been started by those few brave Turkish scholars who acknowledge the genocide. They too are going to be discredited by the Turkish government, who can hold up a piece of paper and say, see, even Armenia says this needs more study, this needs impartial study, what you have been doing is not impartial. Mr. President, this is an extremely harmful proposal, and it should be dropped from these protocols before they are ratified, if they are ratified. My second point regards Aksa. As we know through the press, the Turkish government has consulted with the government of Azerbaijan throughout the negotiations. And in fact, the lack of an outcry by Azerbaijan since the announcement of the protocol, unlike the way they were screaming in April, shows that Azerbaijan is certain that their demands regarding Artsakh will be satisfied. There's no other way to interpret the change in the attitude of Azerbaijan's government. And in fact, the text of the protocol, which not only speaks of territorial integrity, a vague concept that can be balanced against self-determination, although you haven't done that, but you've gone further in these protocols and called for the recognition of the common borders by both governments. This, in fact, proves that the Azerbaijanis are correct. That by accepting these protocols, you are undermining the independence and self-determination of Armenia. That you are undermining the effort for the return of the Western Armenian lands that was stolen from our people. The mutual recognition of borders that go far beyond the mere idea of territorial integrity undermines the efforts of the Armenian diaspora for the last 70 years. This is a dangerous and foolhardy concession to Turkey, and I urge you to withdraw that as well. We in the diaspora have been confronting Turkey for generations. We understand the Turkish government tactics. We've seen them up close for generations. And we have succeeded in putting Turkey on the defensive. Wherever they go around the world, they are confronted with the need to address justice for the Armenian genocide. And now all these efforts, all this is being thrown away, being signed away by these protocols. Mr. President, we saw not too many years ago how when Turkey their entry into the European Union was being made contingent on the Turkish government's recognition of the genocide, that the State Department in Turkey together cooked up the TARC, a reconciliation commission, to give the mere semblance of dialogue and reconciliation, and thus calm the European Commission to drop all mention of the Armenian genocide, which they did. My question is, how is this any different? How is this any less a con game cooked up by the State Department and cooked up by ANCA? I feel it is just another con game, and nothing I have heard here today convinces me otherwise. Baronava jest czym haskana. Jest czym da haskana niż bez protokolnego Christ ziczugnere grunatyczny. Jest czym haskana niż bez arcai awakain das dazidagirstne. Jest czym haskana niż bez grunas zerwiel skórka hajczune i irawunkie aż protokolnego. Jest czym haskana niż bez grunas pomostorakrel or achreli aesthetic digunena Spewking bara. Je wielbek spewking sign Chesterwas, in Czechima. In Czechim Bardiana, je for Artemis Sazek, Porfopopczyn Dajan Czech. Jest Czechastana, inch bez aj protokolnera, boje okupirne, Hajastaninga Hajnisha, Barona Haka jest je